today?
Fine, and you?
What brings you in?
Well, I came in to see could I get some help conquering fear.
What are some fears that you have? Fear of what?
Well, fear of a lot of things. I'm afraid of speaking in large crowds. I'm afraid even when I know, when I'm asked a question and I know the answer, a lot of times I'm afraid to say it, even though I know that I'm right, that someone else might come in and say that I'm wrong. And it's it's fear of uh, uh, being wrong about what I know I'm right about, and fear of talking in front of big crowds, fear of well, it used to be fear of traveling, but I'm not afraid to travel anymore. And it's just fear of being wrong about. That's my biggest fear of being wrong about things that I know that I'm right about, but I'm afraid to say what I'm afraid to say it when I know it's right, and I'm afraid someone else might come in and say that I'm wrong.
Tell me about a time when you spoke in front of others or in a large crowd and you may have said something wrong or thought you said something wrong. How did they react?
Well, they would always come in and try to say that, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not, like if you pronounce a word wrong, you're afraid that people are going to try to correct you or think that it's something funny about the way you said it. Just make you feel like you're beneath them.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it's just a thing about me being afraid when I don't have to be afraid, because when I know I'm right, I should be able to say that I'm right and stick to what I know is right and not let somebody else tell me that I'm wrong when I know I'm right.
So, when someone corrects you in a large crowd or when someone corrects you when you are possibly right or even possibly wrong, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel like that I'm not as smart as they are.
Okay. What else or other feelings that you may experience?
Experience of not fitting in with the crowd, not being able to talk to people the way that I should, fear of if I say something that it's not pronounced right, as I said before, that someone might criticize you, and a fear. It's mostly just a fear of being wrong when I know that I'm right. I would like to get over being. I like to be where I would be able to speak my piece and not worry about whether the other person think that I'm right or wrong or not, as long as I know that I'm right, and I don't have to go back and feel bad about what I said because I know I'm right.
Okay, so what I've heard you say thus far is that you have a fear of several different things, but your biggest fear is speaking in large crowds of people.
Yes.
Okay, and in speaking in large crowds of people, what are some things that you experience? What are some feelings that you experience?
Well, I experienced the fear of not being able to make eye contact with people, and
so eye contact is a big issue with you.
Yes.
So maybe we can start working on eye contact little by little at a time. It's just you and I one-on-one now, and I've noticed that you are not making a whole lot of eye contact with me when you're talking. So maybe you can look for a short period of time and look off once you begin to feel uncomfortable. What are some things that possibly make you feel uncomfortable when speaking to others?
Well, some things make me feel uncomfortable because I feel like that maybe I'm not pronouncing my words right, that I'm not expressing myself the way I should.
Okay.
And
excuse me,
being afraid that maybe that someone there is smarter than me, and they can do a better job than me for what I was called to do, and someone to criticize you.
So what I hear you're saying is a lot of self-doubt within yourself. You're doubting yourself for things that you're possibly capable of doing that you may feel you're not doing a good job at doing. And seems as though you're critiquing or criticizing yourself, and you may be feeling like others may be doing that to you when it may be something that you're really experiencing or exhibiting yourself.
Yes.
So do you feel that may be a case?
Fine.
Okay, so we're going to try to do an exercise, and I want you to, it's called Face Your Fears. I want you to imagine that there is a group of people within a room, and in the midst of speaking, I want you to make eye contact with at least two people doing your 2-minute speech. And I noticed that you said that you like to identify a focal point. Identify that focal point, but in the midst of talking and looking at that focal point, also make eye contact with someone else. Okay. Do you think that'll be an exercise we can complete?
Yes.
Okay. What's your topic that we're going to speak about?
Well, I really don't have a special topic, but why not the topic of food?
Okay.
What type of foods, and the type of foods that's better for you, good for you, and the foods that's bad for you, and the type of how much water intake you should have every day.
Okay.
How many vegetables you should eat in a week's time,
Okay.
and the amount of coffee that should be taken each week, and the different varieties of foods.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short second for you to think about it, and then we're going to go ahead and start. You give your speech, and just use the audience. Imagine there's an audience out there, and you kind of make eye contact with a few people when you speak about food. Okay, go.
Well, I feel that each day we should have a balanced meal. And to me, a balanced meal is one vegetable, one or two vegetables, a certain amount of meat. I figure that the meat should be either chicken, fish, or pork,
Okay.
or turkey. Those are the four. I don't think you should take in a lot of beef. I don't think you should eat a lot of fried food. I don't think you should eat a lot of too spicy foods, especially if you have a hernia or you have not such a good digestive system. I think that you should drink.
Okay, Miss Tolliver, I think that's long enough. You did very well.
Thank you.
In the 2 minutes that you spoke, I saw you make contact with 3 different people. So what are some things that possibly made you feel comfortable in doing this speech as opposed to other speeches?
Well, because this speech, I feel like that I'm speaking on something that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
And I feel more comfortable speaking with something that I'm familiar with. It's different when someone calls you to speak on something that you're not familiar with, and you gotta study it to make sure everything is right. But I feel like I'm a good cook, and I know how to prepare food, and I feel comfortable speaking on that subject.
So what I heard you say, Ms. Tolliver, is that you're speaking in an area in which you feel comfortable. So when you're in your comfort zone, it's easier for you to speak in front of others.
Yes.
Okay. So when there's things that challenge you and that you don't feel comfortable in speaking about, or you may feel like you may not know as much about, then those are areas that make it hard for you?
Yes.
So why, I mean, what makes it hard? I mean, why do you feel that it's hard? Because you may be doing a good job, but you feel that you're not. So what makes you feel that you're not doing a good job?
Well, I feel like that when I'm speaking on subjects that I'm not that well, doing that well in, that I'm not someone else's, maybe someone else is better in it than I am, and I feel like I might say something wrong, and then they'll have to come back and correct me, and I don't take that too well, which I should be able to deal with whether I'm right or wrong, and because I could be right and they could be wrong. So I have to learn to speak up more for myself and study more on the subjects that I'm speaking on and be well prepared when that time comes to speak.
So those, you pointed out some major important things. Preparation. Although you may not be knowledgeable in that area, you need to take time to prepare. And I also heard you say comfortable. So once you become knowledgeable in the area that you're speaking, and you possibly become a little bit more comfortable with that subject that you're speaking on.
Yeah.
Could there possibly be some things that could help you in making speeches?
Yes.
Okay. So what I've heard you say today is that you have a fear of speaking in the midst of others in large crowds. And then speaking in others is not always that you're the crowd that is the issue. Sometimes the issue is your fear of not knowing enough about what you're talking about. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So Ms. Tolliver, what would you like to see change?
Well, I would like to see, I would like to feel more comfortable. I like to be in a better comfort zone.
So becoming more comfortable. Okay.
Want to feel more sure of myself. Want to feel like I'm just as important as the next person.
Okay.
And that to feel like even though some of the subjects we're speaking on I might not be well equipped in that, but I want to feel as if I've done my best in it and not feel bad about it after I've done it.
Okay. So maybe for next session, you can challenge yourself by agreeing to speak. I know I heard last session you said that sometimes they offer you to speak at church to give the welcome or to do some type of greeting at a church program. Do you think that's something that you could start possibly doing to try to help us work through these fears?
I think I'll have to work on that.
Okay.
Because to speak in, do a welcome in a big crowd is not, I don't think I could really do that. If this crowd is small, I might be able to do it, but I won't say I can't do it. I just say I won't feel comfortable doing it.
Okay. So can you tell me, I guess, a little bit about when you have spoken to a large crowd? Tell me about a time when you were asked to speak in a large crowd. What took place? What are some things that you did? Were you not able to speak, or did you experience symptoms of fainting feeling? Explain to me how you felt.
I felt nervous.
Nervous. Okay.
Nerve. And I don't like to be nervous in front of a crowd. So I feel like that if I'm nervous, then I don't do my best.
Okay.
So I want to be able to, if I conquer fear, then I'll conquer the nervousness.
Okay. Okay. So do you feel comfortable when you come in and speak with me?
Yes, because we're one-on-one.
Okay. So we just need to work fine. We need to